Good morning, students. Today, in this section, we can continue the remaining portion of physiological staining techniques, and we are continuing that topic with the next step in tissue preparation for observing under the microscope, that is staining procedure. Actually, what is the purpose of staining? Purpose of staining is to get a contrast between what? Between that cell and its surrounding medium, or between structures within the cell. For that, to avail that contrast is the important thing here. So next is the important features of stain. Stain, they are generally aromatic. Aromatic means they are having a cyclic structure, ring-like structure, compounds with a ring-like structure. They have two parts, chromophoric part and oxochromic part. And in the stain, the chromophoric part is actually stain the specimen, and oxochromic part assist staining. Assist staining means it helps that stain to perfectly bind that tissue or that specimen parts. So that's oxochromic. It helps the stain to bind with the tissue or specimen. Next is acidic and basic stains. Two types of stain. Acidic stain or dye means they contain acidic groups, usually in the form of sodium or potassium salts, and are soluble in water also. They are called acidic dyes, acidic stains. Stains with acidic groups. Next, then basic dyes. They are synthetic dyes. No, it's not natural dyes. They are synthetic, and they react as bases. They have the property similar to bases, and they are almost like bases, and they produce clear, brilliant colors and are especially used in histological stain, tissue staining. They are mainly used in histological stains. Then regarding the chromophoric groups of acid dyes, the chromophoric group is an anion. For basic dyes, the chromophoric group is cation. Chromophoric group means the stain contain two parts, chromophoric and oxochromic. Chromophoric actually is responsible for giving coloration. In the case of acid dyes, the chromophoric group is anion, and the case of basic dye, chromophoric group is cation. And this chart also given here. Then regarding the affinity, acid stains in what all occasion for observing, for examining which all type cells we are using acid stain or acidic stain. Acidic stains are strongly affinity to cytoplasmic constituents of the tissue. Towards what? It is having more affinity towards the cytoplasmic constituents of the tissue. Cytoplasmic constituents, what are all the components of the cytoplasm? For that components, this have strong affinity, acid stains. Why is having a more affinity towards cytoplasmic constituents? Because cytoplasmic constituents are acidophilic, acid loving. So whenever an acid stain is there, can very tightly, perfectly bind with that acid stain and give a good result. So that's why acid stains, they have strong affinity with the cytoplasmic constituents because they are acidophilic. And after binding with it, they form salt with alkalis, because acids always can bind with the base. Acid always bind with or acids have affinity to base. Similarly, bases have affinity towards acid. So in the case of basic stains, strong affinity is towards nucleus, because nucleus contain nucleic acids, DNA, RNA, etc. etc. So that may vary depending upon the organism, DNA or RNA, and also mRNA. So many different types of DNAs, RNAs also present. All these are nucleic acids. Nucleic acids, they are acids. So here the basic stain have high affinity to nucleus because of the presence of nucleic acids in the nucleus. Examples for acid dye. Acid dye examples are acid fuchsin, methyl blue, eosin, orangey. Then basic dye, basic fuchsin, methyl green, crystal violet. Next is about mordants. What are mordants? Their substance increase the affinity of tissues for stain. It increases tissue's affinity towards the stain and improves the quality of staining. Then what about its usage? Some mordants are used just before fixing the tissue. Fixing, what is fixing? I think everybody have studied the demining, the first procedures that we have covered in the last section. In that, we have already covered fixation, fixatives. So what is fixation? Fixation. Preservation of the specimen to avoid degeneration, right? Okay. So some mordants are used before fixing the tissue, and some mordants are used along with the fixatives, and some mordants are used along with the stains only. They are used almost in the final stage of specimen preparation, that is during the time of staining. Examples of mordants: chromium trioxide, iron alum, ammonium molybdate, picric acid, etc. So next slide. One more point with mordants. Lake. It's not actually lake that we're familiar with. Here the lake means it is an insoluble colored precipitate. Insoluble colored precipitate when formed by the reaction between mordant and dye. When mordant reacts with the dye or the stain, forms a insoluble colored precipitate. That precipitate is called a lake. So that can be say one more question for the exam. The metachromasia is more important. What is metachromasia? It's a somewhat sure question. Metachromasia means it is a property of certain stains which color the cell components in totally different color than that of the stain. Here than is missed. Okay, anyway you understand in that way. They are metachromasia. What is? They have a color, but when it stains a cell, the color will be different from that of the color of the stain. That is metachromasia. That stains with such a property are called stains with such property are called metachromasia. Example: toluidine blue stains. Toluidine blue, it stains nuclei with blue, cytoplasmic RNA with pink, and glycoproteins with red color. Next, staining of whole mounts. Whole means complete, full. What is explaining here? What is staining of whole mounts? Whole mounts mean staining organism or its parts which are small enough to mount on a slide. If that organism or specimen or cell is small enough to mount in a slide, that type of mounting is called a whole mount. It's completely a cell, completely an organism is mounting on a slide. Or if that specimen is very thin enough to permit light, there is no need of making any alteration. So such type of mounts are called whole mounts. Examples: Carmine stains. Stains usually used in whole mounts are Carmine stains, borax carmine, alum carmine, etc. carmine. All these are carmine stain, mainly used for staining chromosomes. Next is another type of staining of serial section. Where is this application? This method is mainly applied whenever we need to prepare permanently stained slides. That you are familiar for biological studies, so many slides we are prepared permanently for for the for instant users, for easy to use, because it's very difficult for each and every time take the specimen, cut, embed and stain and to see. So instead of that, if we can prepare the stain and specimen once, and it is properly stained and may convert it into a permanent slide, it will be easy for future studies. In such occasion, this type of method is adopted. Staining of serial sections for preparing permanent stained slides. What is the method here? In the histological staining procedure, we have learned about the step embedding. What is embedding? The very nicely cut specimen is fixed in a paraffin wax inside a mold. I think you remember that. Okay, that is more embedding. I am embedded tissue is selected and that paraffin is removed. That process is called deparaffinized. After deparaffinized, then that tissue is staining. That staining is not a normal type, it is double staining. Then we need to understand what is double staining. Double staining, in double staining there is two parts, nuclear stain and cytoplasmic stain is there. Nuclear stain will be the primary stain, main stain. Usually it is a hematoxylin. And one more counterpart is there, cytoplasmic stain, and it is called counter stain, and mostly it will be EOC. And after applying double staining, the nucleus appears blue in a pinkish red cytoplasmic background. This is called a double staining because two stained counterparts is present in one solution itself, one stain itself. One part is called a nuclear stain and then the part of that stain is called a cytoplasmic stain. Nuclear stain is a primary and cytoplasmic stain is called a counter stain. Next slide. Then multiple staining also there. Multiple stain we are using in some very only very rarely we are using multiple staining. Here there is one primary stain and two or more counter stains. A best example for multiple stain is Mallory's triple stain. In this, the primer stain is stain spelling mistake. No problem. Primary stain is acid fuchsin and counter stain is alanine blue and orange G. When we apply the Mallory's triple stain, what will be the result? Chromatin appears deep pink or red. Cytoplasm in varying shades of pink. Connective tissue in blue and blood cells in which color? Orange color. Very colorful. And it is very easy to observe also and to understand various aspects of the tissue. Next, mounting. Staining is over. Mounting, what is the purpose? Till now we have prepared the specimens, perfectly sliced thin specimen and is duly stained one. Then we need to observe under the microscope. So observing under the microscope, we need to put a cover slip. So after putting the cover slip, there is chance for disposition of that cover slip or the specimen, or some damage may happen to that specimen. So to avoid all these all these unwanted things, we are doing mounting. A medium, some solution is using for mounting mounting step. This mounting medium bounds the specimen, slide and cover slip together with a clear durable film. This is the final stage of tissue preparation. Ideal mountant. Mountant means the solution that is used for mounting. An ideal mountant should have same refractive index as the section or near to that. Otherwise, it may affect the, the way it visualizes through the microscope. Refractive index, what? I think you know that. What is refractive index? Ability of a specimen to bend the light that is passing through the specimen. That is the refractive index. What is the refractive index of that section or specimen? That refractive index should be same as that of the mountain. Then only it will give a good result. Then only we can observe very clear that specimen. The characteristics of a good mountain. It will fully colorless and transparent. If it is fully colored, then it may cause so much confusion to observe the specimen. So it should be colorless and transparent also. And also it completely permeate and fill the tissue spaces. It is capable to fill the spaces in the tissue, and it will not cause any adverse effect to the tissue components. It will not affect any of the components of the tissue, and is resistant to contamination. It protect the section from physical damage, and also it is very mixable with the dehydrant or clearing agent. Clearing agent also we have learned, after clearing the specimen will appear transparent. So it is very easy to mix with the dehydrant or clearing agent, and should set without crystallize. It is easily to set it, make set with the cover slip specimen on the slide without crystallizing, cracking or shrinking. And that mountain may be hydrophobic or hydrophilic. So first we are going to understand about hydrophobic mountains. Example is Canada balsam and DPX. They are all permanent mountains. And Canada balsam is source is mainly bark of fir, Abies balsamea, a plant native of North America. Its picture is given here. It's from its bark we are obtaining the Canada balsam. Disadvantage is also there for this Canada balsam. After a long period of time, it get yellowish, and also it is very slow to get hardened, and also it becomes acidic over time. These are the disadvantages. Then dpx important features of dpx is it is colorless, fast, and prevent moisture development under the cover slip or cover glass. How it is preparing? By dissolving common plastic polystyrene in suitable hydrocarbon solvent like xylene. Now what's its disadvantage? From the edge of the cover slip, this DPX mountain show some refractness from the edge. From the edge of the cover slip, it may retract. So that's the disadvantage of DPX. So how can we prevent that refraction from the edge of the cover slip by DPX? By adding a plasticizer. It prevents this retraction by forming a mesh with the polymerized plastic. It forms a mesh with the polymerized plastic and prevent its retraction from the edge of the cover slip. Next is hydrophilic mountains. Mainly water and glycerol. Oftenly we are using glycerol. In our lab also we use glycerol as a mountain. So water also can be used as a mountain in some situations. Which all situations we are using water as a mountain? For observing live mountains of microorganisms. If we want to observe a microorganisms that is in live condition, in that situation we are using water as a mountain. And also we use water as a mountain while checking sections during the staining procedure. Well, during the staining procedure itself, if we want to observe it, then that time also we are using water as a mountain. Then next is glycerol, is another type of hydrophilic mountain. It's also a temporary mountain, and longer drying time is there for glycerol. And in immunofluorescence, a type of glycerol is used called phosphate buffered glycerol. Immunofluorescence, what is immunofluorescence? Also, that also how we have learned, I think. Immunofluorescence, fluorescence means emitting light. Immuno means something relating with the antibody antigen reaction. So if a fluorescently labeled antibody is inserted, applied to some tissues, then that antibody can precisely go and bind with the corresponding antigen and we can locate the position of that antigen. So in such type of researches, a glycerol is used for mounting. That glycerol is called phosphate buffered glycerol. And also in some occasions we are adding glycerol to other agents to retard drying and cracking. With this, we finished all the histological staining techniques. In the next class, we can learn about the common histological stains. With that, we can finish today's class. Thank you.